radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7. Live on hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hey, what's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Hey. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. I do want to make a couple, one small announcement. It may be small, it may be big. Stay tuned because I will keep y'all updated, but we are more than likely going to be changing the day from Thursday to Wednesdays at 4 p.m. I will give y'all more information on that later tonight through Instagram and everything, all my pages. I'll let y'all know what the final word is. But if it's not next week, it'll be the week after for sure. We'll be moving from Thursdays back to Wednesdays. Hey, look at that. Back in action. Anyway, after that small announcement is over and done with, I'm happy to talk about my week, man. Let me give y'all my week in review. Y'all know how I do every single time. This past week was actually a very frustrating week, but I think it was just testing my patience a lot. So I kind of been working on dealing with that on the back end, you know, what I got to do, figure it out, take care of it. But also some good news about this past week. My children were baptized this past Sunday. That was pretty amazing. We got to spend more time together as a family. This was my first actual weekend off with the new schedule at work. My schedule changed, so I'm off from both jobs on the weekends now. The kids are super happy about that. I'm not gonna lie, after this last weekend, I'm super happy about that because I wasn't expecting to be so well rested. I don't know if you can tell, but my skin glowing a little bit more today because I got more rest this week, so I'm happy about that too. But all in all, when it comes to that, man, I've had a great productive week. Yes, my patience and my what's the word I'm looking for? My frustrations kind of got the better part of me for some of the week, but I'm glad that I was able to recognize it and address it, you know, because without addressing it, man, it would have got worse, turned into somebody I wanted to be, and I never wanted it to fall into work where I would be, you know, causing problems where they shouldn't be at. So some of y'all may not want to be at or may not be at that point yet because you feel like anger is easier to tap into, but I'm telling you right now, man, when your frustrations and irritation levels get high, man, the first thing you need to try to do is find a space to calm down in, or to think straight, or to think properly, because it takes about 4 to 5 seconds to make one bad decision that'll set you back 5 to 10 years in life. You know what I mean? Anyway, all in all, other than that, I got nothing else bad to say about the week. Today specifically, man, was just a great day. It was just so productive. Everything went smoothly. I had no hiccups, no roadblocks, and I'm just like, man, like, I got nothing else to say. And I get to go ahead and go home after this and go see my kids and irritate them. You know, if you're a parent, you're a dad, you understand what I mean by irritate. Like, play with them, have some fun, get on their nerves, just like they get on my nerves. But yeah, you know, I love my kids to death, but I definitely like messing with them all the time. All right, so for today, that really was how my week went last week. I just kind of did a lot of resting up and sleeping. I low-key slacked off in the gym this past week, but I swear I'm making up for it. I went the night before last. I'm going today. I'm going to go tomorrow, and I'm going to go Saturday just to put some icing on the cake. I'm going to make up for what I did. But I've been slacking off on the gym, but I'm getting back in there, you know. It was just a minor setback for a major comeback. I'll hold you to that. But for today's show, what I want to talk about, the title I have for it is The Weight of the Crown, Mental Health, and the Burden of Black Male Leadership. Some of y'all probably going to tune in, have some things to say. Please do tune in, comment, like, share, subscribe, all of those beautiful, great things. But all in all, I do just want you to hear what I got to say, right? Hear me out on the message today on what's going on, or at least talk with me about what's going on. Your view may be different than my view, and I'm just kind of going off of society's point of view in a way. Okay. So peace, kings and queens. You are tuned in to Talk is Cheap, and I am your brother, Juss Quanni. So we back again for another powerful and necessary conversation. Of course, it's Thursdays. Talk is cheap. This is what we do. We grow together. We become better. Where we check in, get real, and grow stronger together. Today's topic is personal. You probably already knew that by how I said it. It is heavy but necessary. The way to being a provider, protector, and leader, and how it affects the mental health of Black men. Now, we are talking about fatherhood, marriage, work, and leadership. We're talking about the pressure to be strong when you feel broken. We're talking about how to carry the crown without losing your mind, because I'm going to just be honest with, like I said, sometimes you can feel overwhelmed. You may not know where to go. You may not know which direction to take, which path to take. And mentally, it could be exhausting and draining, so you kind of just figuring out, like, what can I do to make this better? How do I resolve this? How do I take care of it? What step do I take next? Do I go back? Do I go forward? So, and I'm sure there's a lot of y'all that can relate to what's going on. I'm pretty sure there are. So that's what I mean by that. So, first part of it is, the crown of provision, right? Let's start with the provision, the pressure to provide. I'm sure y'all know what that is. From the time we're boys, we're taught that our worth as men is tied to what we can bring home, right? Your finances, what kind of money you have, money, stability, security. And for Black men especially, there's this unspoken rule that we have to be, 2 to 3 times as good just to be seen as enough, right? So we grind, we hustle, we take on jobs we hate, we lose sleep, we bury dreams, all in the name of taking care of home. But here's the question. Who's taking care of you? I had a good friend ask me, with everything that I do to make sure home is okay, the one question I got was, well, who making sure you all right? And I'm like, I am. I think I am, right? When I was younger, yesterday I was younger too, but no, let me stop. Let me be serious. When I was younger, I had this mindset that I had to do it all by myself. I couldn't ask for help. I couldn't find a direction. I just had to figure it out on my own. I'm a very DIY person, so I YouTube a lot. I try to figure it out by myself. But, you become an adult and you realize that's a bunch of bullshit. You don't have to. That's the complete opposite of what you got to do. You don't have to do it all on your own. You create a good support team, people that are around you that care about you, that love you, that want to see you do better. You kind of be around them and grow from there. Because when your whole identity is wrapped up in being the breadwinner, it's easy to feel like a failure when you're tired or in between jobs or falling short. And that shame, that pressure, that silence, that's where the cracks in our mental health begin. That's where it kind of starts. Brothers, we've got to talk about the burnout, the silent stress, the depression we don't name. The provision is honorable, but it's not all that we are. You are more than just a paycheck. You are a person. I think sometimes we just forget that we are people. So we think that every one of us think we Superman. I'm not mad at you for thinking that you Superman, but understand something. Even every once in a while, Superman take his cape off. He Clark Kent for something. Why you think he go to Clark Kent? So he ain't got to be bothered. But that don't mean he's still not Superman. At the drop of a dime, if something happened, he'll go find a phone booth to change in. And I think a lot of us have that mentality where we feel like we have to be Superman 24/7, and we just forget that even Superman had a secret identity. Even he was like, hey, I need a break. Hey, I need some rest. I need to relax. I need some, I need to be calmed down. I need something. Even he took off his cape every once in a while to make sure that he was all right. So honestly, I just feel like that's where we come with it. We feel like that we have to be all and save all, and we don't get a night off. We don't get a day off. We don't get to go take a nap. We don't get to do any of that. We feel like that we have to be Superman 24/7. And I'm just here to tell you again, that's just not the case. It's not the case. And I want to hear from y'all. Have you ever felt like your worth as a man was tied to your wallet? How did that affect your mental health? Let me know. Like, you can DM me, hit me up, comment. Let me know. It's so many different ways, but talk to me, because I just want to hear from other brothers out there about your journey, the things you've been going through, along the way. I'm sure I'm not the only person that has been feeling like this when it comes to being a man, being a Black man in this world. Like, there's so much to it that we don't unpack. What is it called? Compartmentalizing. Did I say that right? And, I think that's a thing. Like, I think that's real heavy, and it's crazy. Like, you got to kind of take everything out and really dig into the why of things, the why. I have for a long time in my life, I never cared about the why, because I'm like, why? Why do I need to worry about that? But in all fairness, that why will be the thing you need to kind of teach you why you've been doing something. So, for example, when I say that, I went to therapy. I've gone to therapy for so long now. But one of the things I learned years ago was, for example, I used to be a straight A student, like all the time, straight A student. I would get award ceremonies, student of the month, all you name it, I was getting it. You know what I mean? But in school, nobody showed up for me. I got these ceremonies and awards, and I'm out there and standing next to the teacher that gave it to me while everybody else with their families, with their friends and family. And I'm just sitting there alone like, oh, wow, it looks good to see everybody else with their mom and dad here. And I'm just, looking around, right? But what that taught me was, because of the fact that I never got the acknowledgement, or I never got just the acknowledgement from parents when I was succeeding, I started doing enough to get by in school. Like, I would just get enough grades to make sure I'm passing, and you can't complain about my grades. You know what I mean? I got enough to get by. But I was learning that later on in life, that's how your therapy gets you, man. You talk about something and they hit you right smack dab in the middle. And he said, you don't realize that now in life, you do just enough to get by, because when you were doing you were going above and beyond, no one showed up for you. So you feel like now as an adult, you don't need to go above and beyond, because it's not going to get you anywhere. So you're going to just do enough just to get by. And I had to think about it at the time, and I was like, well, damn. I work just enough hours to make sure they don't fire me. If my attendance is messed up, I make sure I come to work until the points fall off. Like, I do just enough to get by. And it really just made me sit down and say, well, damn, there go your past trauma again, showing you why you need to work on yourself, why you need to get better and be better. Some of y'all may have not been there yet, but I will continue to talk about going to therapy with y'all. I just, it worked wonders for me, and I'm telling you, I was a train wreck. It worked wonders for me, so I just hope that y'all will follow the same path and go about it the way you can, or the way you need to. Now let's talk about protection. It's more than just physical. Because a lot of y'all swear up and down that you just being a tough guy, you got muscles, you're strong, you could beat anybody up as protection. But let's talk about the fact that it's more than just physical. Yes, we're taught to defend our families, to walk on the street side, to keep the doors locked, to be ready for whatever. We are taught that all day long. But what about emotional protection? Has anybody ever talked to you about emotional protection? Because what about the mental safety of your wife, your kids, yourself? Do you think that you are doing the job you should be doing, you're doing a good job at it with handling those things for your wife, your kids, your job? Are you doing that for yourself? Do you have that capability? As Black men, we carry trauma, generational, systematic, and personal. We walk through this world with targets on our backs and pressure on our shoulders. And still, we're expected to be emotionally present, patient, calm, and strong. Now, nobody said it would be easy. It is a hard balance. It's hard to be gentle when life's been harsh to you. It's hard to protect your home from pain when you're still healing from wounds no one sees. Here's a quote I love. It says, you can't pour from an empty cup. So many of us are trying to protect others with nothing left inside. So you're not taking care of yourself, and you're trying to make sure everybody else is okay, and you're wondering why it's not going the way you want it to. Is because you need to recuperate. You need some rest. You need some time to yourself. You need some day off. Maybe you need to go some therapy. Maybe you need a week off. Maybe you need something. Maybe you need to just take a walk or a drive. Me personally, anytime I feel myself get irritated or frustrated, I'll take a walk. I'll grab my headphones, put my music on, and I'll take a walk. That alone right there will give me a sense of like, I can't tell you why the walk, where it comes from. I just know that it helps. It helps me. Brother, we are, how do I say it? You know what? I'll come back to that one because there's something in a minute I want to talk to that'll tie that in. But what does protection look like when you're mentally drained? Can we redefine protection as showing up honestly and not just silently suffering? And some of y'all are like, what you mean by that? What you mean by that? What I mean by that is, can you be honest enough to let it be known that you're not okay? Can you express it in a healthy, positive way that you need some help or you're going through something? I think we need to learn how to do that more. A lot of us are going off of stories of what we heard from other men and how they tried to express themselves and got shut down and toward and this and that. I just want to say, you never know until you try. You never know until you try. You're not going to get it right the first time. It's not going to happen overnight. But the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. Like this, another great quote I love is, perfect practice prevents poor performance, the 5 Ps. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. For example, a year and a half ago, in the position I'm in, I was not good. I was learning my craft, right? Here I am now where I'm still learning my craft and I'm still trying to perfect it and make it better. But I've gotten to a flow, a rhythm to know what to do, how to get it done, because I've practiced to make it better for myself, make it easier for myself. And again, I'm not telling you nothing is going to be easy, but I'm telling you everything you put effort into is going to be worth it. That's what I mean by that. Some of y'all may not want to hear it or believe it, but I'm telling you, just try. You never know until you try. And let me know what happened. Give it about a week or two just to test it, and don't see if it gets just a little better. Just a little better. I guarantee you'll get some kind of progress. Let's speak on leadership, right? I know we all can talk about leadership here. Some of y'all may not want to, but let's talk about it a little bit. Being the head of the household, it isn't just about control. I'll be honest though, when I was like 25, 26, or maybe even my late 20s, right? I did think that being the head of household was all about control. I thought it was just about making sure that any and everything I do would be, but definitely, it's my way or the highway. That's how I looked at that. If I'm the leader of the household and I'm paying the bills, I'm taking everything, yeah, it's my way or the highway. Was I wrong? Wholeheartedly, completely, 1,000% wrong. It's like I just pulled that right out of my ass. I didn't know where it came from because I was so wrong. It's really about direction. It's about having a vision. It's about foundation. That's what it means to be a leader in a household. You know, it's not about barking orders or about setting the tone, it's about setting the tone. It's about showing your sons how to be men and showing your daughters what a man should be. It's about leading with love, discipline, consistency, and vulnerability. The reason I made sure that last one was on there, vulnerability, because black men, we feel like being vulnerable is like, it's really kryptonite. We feel like being vulnerable just means we weak to the core. We can't do nothing. But I'm telling you, that's not the case. Vulnerability will actually do a lot better for you than trying to be the tough guy all the time, you know, especially when you got a family, when you got people you care about and you love. You have to learn to be vulnerable with them. You know, you have to learn to be very patient with them, because if you don't, you're going to create problems that even they didn't know was around. You know, you're going to cause issues within yourself because you're trying to fight a battle that you ain't meant to fight. You meant to be alongside them people when you're trying to fight. You know, that ain't how it go. That ain't how it's supposed to work. That ain't it at all. It's really more so. Let me ask you this. How can you lead your family when your mental state is in chaos, right? Leadership starts with self-awareness, mental preparation, emotional regulation, and because when a man leads from a place of brokenness, the whole house feels it. And I'm telling you, it's true. I'm speaking from experience. When you lead when you lead a household with the idea of it's my way or the highway, you know how many people take the exit? They may get back on that highway, but they're going to take the exit every time you say it's my way or the highway. All right, let me get off. This is the wrong stop. That's what they're going to tell you. And we can't really expect the household to thrive like that. We can't expect any kind of development with thinking like that. So it has to change. We have to do better and be better. All in all, your kids don't just need money. They need presence. And I don't want to talk about gifts. I mean presence. They need you there, you around. And when I say your presence, I mean actively involved. You know what I mean? Your wife doesn't just need strength. She needs communication. Your family doesn't need just direction. They need healthy leadership. So don't just be like, hey, go over there and do that. You should be like, hey, look, son, I think you should go and, go here and go this way. Go over there to do it next to the school. So that way, when you're done with it, you can just go right to go get it taken care of, call it a day. Give them a reason why. Let them know what needs to happen and why it needs to happen. Don't just bark orders and say, go do it and not explain why it needs to be done. I was not like that all my life with having kids. I did not understand that kids need to be explained. They need understanding too. They need to know. They need the why. Kids have to know the why. They need that. And for the first few years of my son's life, it was more so like, no, I'm the parent. He's just going to do what I tell him to do. And then when I got to the point where I realized, oh, well, let me explain why you're in trouble. Let me explain why it happened. Let me explain why you shouldn't do it. It's easier to communicate with my kids now, because now I see that leading with an iron fist or ruling with an iron fist don't mean I'm just going to bark orders and tell y'all what needs to do. What that means is that everything in this household is solid. The foundation is solid. Everything about it is solid enough to where we can get through it together. So if we do get a roadblock or an issue, it ain't nothing to go ahead and fix it. You know, that's what that means to me, is leading with an iron fist, making sure everything about the household is healthy and productive. Okay. Now, let's normalize therapy. Since I've been doing this show, I've been talking about that. I always mention, go to therapy, go to therapy. There's a guy on social media. His name is Tony Weaver Jr. I don't know if you guys know, but he's got a book out called Weirdo. He's created his own black comic book. So what I love about him is every time he goes on, he has something to post that he makes. He ends it with saying, like, if you're doing this, or if you're the one doing this, go get some therapy. Like, he always ends the videos with it being on, go get some therapy. But he says it from a place of love. So I always tune into his little posts and everything because of that, because I love the fact that, you know, you're promoting something positive. And he's teaching kids to be themselves, you know. Don't follow up with the norm. Be yourself. You know, live outside of the normal spectrum that they want to keep you in. But let's normalize asking for help. Let's normalize saying, I am not okay right now, but I'm working on it. You know what I mean? Because leading well means healing first, right? I've tried it. I've tried to lead and heal at the same time. But when you are at a certain point, I'll say when you're too broken, for lack of a better word, there are some things that you cannot do, which is like leading. You don't have the mental capacity to lead right now because you have to deal with so much else on your plate. So sometimes it's okay to sit on the back end and be like, you know what? I need you to take the forefront for a couple of weeks while I just get my shit together, for lack of a better word. It's okay to say stuff like that. It's okay to be like, hey, I ain't there right now. I'm not good. You know, I can do this about it, but, you know, for this part, I'm just mentally, I can't, you know, let it be known. The expressing yourself through anger, aggression, violence, like that's gotta stop. That's gotta stop. It does. That's really getting you nowhere, but to the same place. It's you're going in circles. You know what I mean? I'm sure y'all are aware of that. Now, I want to talk about the family equation too. You know, a lot of brothers are out here trying to balance it all. A full-time job and a part-time job. A wife who needs emotional connection. Kids who need guidance. Bills, pressure, expectations, society, racism, and no full-time job. In my case, I got a full-time and a part-time. What that means is I have to make sure that mentally I'm ready to go into work every day, that I can focus when I get to work. I can take care of my job. I can have days like today where it's a smooth process. Mentally, I have to be ready for that. But in all fairness, like if I'm not, my issue was I'm trying to balance a full-time job, part-time job, a wife, kids, and bills, all that extra stuff. I'm trying to balance it all at the same time. But when I say the same time, I mean as if like, an expression I like to use is think of a Thanksgiving plate. You got greens, you got mac and cheese, you got yams, cornbread, turkey, dressing. You got everything, all of that good stuff. And what I like to compare that with is focus on if your plate. So maybe I should focus on and go eat the dressing instead of me trying to take a bite of mac and cheese with the yams, because you know it all tastes good, or the cornbread and the dressing and the greens together. You know, I gotta make sure that instead of me trying to be out there eating everything on my plate at the same time, I need to eat my mac and cheese. All right, that's done. Let me go to my yams. All right, my greens. Now my dressing done. Taking care of it one by one, so that way I can have the mental capacity to deal with all of it. Because if I'm trying to picking the different plates while I'm sitting there trying to eat, man, I'm barely gonna be able to really taste my food. I'm gonna be so busy stuffing myself I don't get to taste it and enjoy it. You know, so I say that in the same way that Your job, you got to make sure you're mentally prepared for your job. Your wife, you got to make sure that y'all are communicating and comprehending each other, because emotional support is great on both ends. It's not just a my way or the highway kind of deal. And when it comes to like bills, pressure, expectations, society, all of that good stuff, racism, and no room to breathe, that will be easier to dilute once you kind of just find a balance for it all, right? And finding a balance don't mean you throwing it all on your head at one time. It means you doing it one by one to see how much you can take at a time. You're like, okay, you know what? Today I can focus on the job and the kids and the wife, but tomorrow I need to focus on bills and the expectations everybody got from me. It just depends. But I feel like any kind of effort or any kind of work to move forward, any step moving forward is a step in the right direction. Because let's be real. It is a lot, and we don't always have the words. We don't always have the tools. But here's what I want to tell you. Your peace is not a luxury. It's a requirement. Because, again, if you are chaotic and all around the place, all over the place, what does that say about your home, your kingdom, your place of peace? Obviously, it's going to look like that place is chaotic and all over the place, too. That's just how it's going to be looked at. So, in all honesty, why wouldn't you want to take the right steps to go in the right direction? Because let's be real, if you burn out, your family feel it. Do you know that I was great with my schedule? Because I was like, bills get paid and we ain't never got to worry about money. That's what I thought. And even though I may have been burnt out because I was tired and exhausted from working 6 days a week, one day off, and I'm spending that day with the family, so that's not really a day off, And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to complain because bills is paid, everything taken care of, everybody happy. But everybody wasn't happy. The kids didn't like that I was working so much. The wife don't like that I work so much. Like, it became a real problem to the point where my kids, my oldest is only 8, he'll be 9 in October. But when my kids came to me and expressed the fact that they did not like that I worked so much, I knew that there was something that had to change about that. Because bills may be taken care of, but the home is not happy. And if the home is not happy, eventually it's going to come back to me, and now I'm not going to be happy. Now I'm going to have problems. I'm going to have issues. So what am I going to do that? I'm going to fix it. So what did I do? I went to my job, and I went and requested a schedule change to make sure I got enough time for everybody now. Okay? It may not be the perfect schedule, but I got way more time for everybody, and lately everybody's been loving it. So if it works for them, if it works for home, it works for me, right? Because they're not putting me in a position of where they want me to do more to get less. They are putting me in a position where they want me to work less to have more time with them. That's okay. I'm fine with that. My family wants to spend time with me. That means I'm doing a good job. I mean, I'm doing a really good job, and I appreciate that. But if you snap, right? Because if you burn it out and your family feels it, and you snap, your wife feels it. If you disappear emotionally, your kids learn to cope with silence. You know how painful it is for your kids to feel like they can't come to you and say they feel some type of way about something because they just feel like you're not there. They feel like they can't do it. I see families where the kids always go to mom first because, I guess for what I used to think was, it's because mom's nicer, she's softer, she'll let you do whatever you want. But what I realize is mom is more available emotionally for the kids, so they feel safer to be able to go to her. I want to change that narrative. I want it to be so that kids feel safe to go to both parents. It doesn't matter who it is. That they have the opportunity to know that they can feel safe with mom or dad and not just one or the other. I would hate it if my kids felt like they could only come to me. I would hate it if they felt like they could only go to mom. I don't know. I would never want to put them in that position where they feel like one or the other parents just emotionally can't handle what they have to give that day. I don't think that's fair to you or the children. Now, we do got to build some mental muscles the same way we build physical ones. Prayer, therapy, brotherhood, rest, journaling, music, stillness, whatever helps you keep your spirit anchored. I say that because I do a lot of those. Like, I go to therapy, I pray, you know what I mean? My rest, I'm starting to rest now. That's lately, I'm starting to rest now. Journaling, I do my poetry, but I mean, same difference, same thing, putting my feelings on paper. Music, like I just said earlier, I put my headphones in and take a walk. Music is a way. Whatever helps you keep your spirit anchored, but you find something that will bring you back to earth. I say that to get you grounded, Don't go say that your peace is you going to the bar. No, that's a habit. That's a what does I want to call it? A deflection tool. A deflection tool. You ain't really taking care of the issue. You trying to cover it up with drugs and liquor or whatever it is you're using. You got to sit down and find something healthy to get that taken care of. You know, some of y'all may not want to, but I'm telling you, it's needed, because being a black man in this world is heavy. It is heavy. And we got to keep our mind strong to carry it. You know, we have to. Some of y'all think that the mind is something to play with, something to trick about, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't take care of your mind and your mental, you're going to, well, I'll say it like that. If you don't take care of your mind and your mental, that's why you keep ending up in these situations you don't want to be in. Because you're going about them in ways that are unhealthy or toxic or dramatic. Like, relax a bit, calm down, and find a positive, healthy way to get it taken care of. Because I'm going to be honest, like, if it was me, man, back then, yes, I was a victim of that mindset and thinking like that. But ultimately, I realized that about myself, and I put the work in and start getting better and being better. I still don't think, even now, I don't think I got it down to it, you know, to where I need it to be. But I know I'm working on it enough to where I can handle whatever comes my way. I know what steps to take, you know, whether that's anger, whether that's hurt, whether that's being happy, whether that's, you know, no matter what it is, I feel like now I have the right tools that are necessary to handle it. I have the right resources that I can go to when I need it. That's what I do feel like. I feel like that I have a better chance at making it a better day, just based on the fact that I try to put the work in to make it better. You can sit around all you want to and say, I don't need therapy. I don't need to sit on nobody's couch, therapy for this person, that person. You could do that all day, but I guarantee you'll still end up in them same toxic situations and cycles that you don't want to be in. You don't want to be in. I'm coming from a place of love. You know, I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to move forward, to be great, to put in the effort to make themselves better. That's all I really want. That's all I really care about. To every brother listening right now, I see you. I honor the weight you carry, and I remind you that you don't have to carry it alone. I don't care what you think, what you feel. You do not have to carry it alone. You are the provider, yes, but you're also a dreamer. You are the protector, yes, but you're also human. You are the leader, but you deserve to be led sometime too. And people are like, what do you mean? If you're the leader, you shouldn't be led. Here's what I say to that. My business is I choose your character. I can host, I can do birthday parties, I can minister. You name the character you want me to be today, okay? But if I came to a point where somebody came to me about a notary, you think I'm finna try to answer their questions? I'm finna say, hold on, Diamond, babe, they got questions about notary. Can you come talk to them for me and, you know, give them the information they need? Because I don't know what to do here, so I'm gonna let you take the lead, because that ain't my specialty. That ain't my field of work. I'm going to let her take over and handle that situation, because there's no way I should be going in thinking that her line of work I know more about. Ain't no way. Unless we're in the same line of work. But even then, you shouldn't position it that way. But hey, teach his own, teach his own. But I'll never sacrifice, or no, not sacrifice. I'll never jeopardize the family because I want to be looked at as the leader 24/7. Nah, I'm good. If it ain't my specialty, if I don't know nothing about it and she know more about it, I'm going to let her take the lead. For example, when it comes to school shopping, I may provide the money to do school shopping, but who you think I let pick out the school clothes and pick out the supplies and stuff they need? Their mother, because I know she's better at it than I am. Am I mad about that? No, we're a team. It's not her versus me. It's us versus them. So I'm not about to get mad at the fact that she needs to take the lead on something. We do have to learn that sometimes our pride will get involved in that, and it'll keep us in those situations where we should just step aside and let the next person take over. That's just pride and ego. If you looked at me like, nah, you part of the problem. You part of the problem. But, you know, do better. We can do better and be better together. But I'm telling you, you deserve to be led sometimes too. It is okay to allow your partner to step aside or step over you and tell you, sorry, to step in front of you. I don't want to say step over you. I know y'all always about the words. To step in front of you and say, hey, babe, I got this. You should allow that if they know more about it than you do. There's nothing you should do to stop or block that. What you should be doing is standing right behind her like, I got your back. I'm supporting whatever you need. That's it. That's all you got to do. The crown is heavy, but so is the legacy you building. I know y'all I really like that one. I knew y'all would like that one. But I'm going to say it again. The crown is heavy, but so is the legacy that you're building. Let's talk. Let's heal. Let's grow. Because strong men aren't the ones who feel nothing. They're the ones who face everything. A lot of y'all be like, no, they're strong. They can deal with it. They're strong. They're strong. They can put up with it. I'm here to tell you right now, just like I said earlier, I don't know if y'all ever watched the new Superman movie. I love that movie. I give an 8.5, 9 out of 10, right? Because of the way that they interpreted that film on screen for me. It's not like any other Superman movie you've seen. They bypassed the history of how he was a young kid growing up with his parents on a farm. Like, they bypassed that part. They go right into the point of him and Lois is already together, that Lois knows who Superman is. But what I love that they hit on is the fact that even Superman, the Man of Steel, the strongest man alive, the alien, whatever you want to call him, even he has these mental struggles and issues that he has to deal with on a daily basis. The fact that they showed how the only thing that kept him sane and comfortable is the people that are supportive around him, the people that are there to help him and make sure that everything gets done as a team, not just by yourself. I love how they showed on screen what it looks like for a man to deal with real life issues. It may have been a superhero movie, but I saw the bigger picture. Good job, James Gunn. I appreciate you for that. Everybody says that when they look at, they want to know, is it a good movie? Is it a good movie? I give that new Superman movie 8.5, 9 out of 10. I really do. It was more comparable to the everyday struggles than I've seen in the other movies. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at it. He's got they put the dog in it this time, Crypto. That was kind of cool to show. But even with that, man's best friend, right? Even though it wasn't his dog, it was his cousin, but man's best friend. Even to show that the dog was there to help him sometimes. When he couldn't get out of it, the dog helped him out of it. Like, it was so much support in that movie that I was like, man, you know what? I ain't got nothing to say. I mean, seeing that all around, to see that Superman has a support system, it tells you, man, we as men, we can't, if we want to be Superman, we got to have a support system. He do. We got to take our cape off every once in a while. He does. You know, it shows the struggles of in a relationship with someone when y'all are two completely different people, how to navigate around those issues y'all have, how sometimes you won't agree all the time, and how sometimes, you know, you got to get challenged by your partner. Otherwise, you won't grow. It was just a great film altogether, looking at it, you know, as a man, as from my point of view with what I'm talking about today. Y'all think that you got to be hard and tough 24/7, and you ain't got to be vulnerable. You ain't got to compromise. You ain't got to sacrifice. And it's like, it's holding you back. It's holding you back, man. It's holding you back, all of y'all. It's one of those things where if you knew today, what was that saying? What would you do today if you knew you wouldn't fail? And then somebody answers and say, well, go out and do it then. I say the same thing when it comes to your mental health. What would you do today to take care of your mental health if you knew you can get it done? What would you do? As soon as I hear answers, I'm like, okay, we'll start there. Start there. Go do that. That's not a problem. Do something productive. Find a way, find a path to go on where you can start up, where you can kind of get it going. But don't just sit there and keep throwing the blame off on Peter, Paul, Sam, Anthony, or no, I got to be a man. I got to do this. I got to stand up. I got to stand tall. I got to be tough. And like, you think your pride and your ego is that important that, you know, you can't let it go for a second to become a better man? I'll tell you right now, I used to be such a stubborn individual, such a hard-headed individual. I didn't think that any new information that was given to me or any new information I received, I always had to challenge, which I still do, but in a lighter way now. Now I don't challenge. I just double check the work to make sure they was right, you know, and I'm not going to do that in front of nobody. That's really messed up. That's kind of disrespectful. But yeah, when I learned new information at the time, I used to always be like, you can't tell me nothing. It's my life. You can't tell me how to move. This is my legs. I know how to walk. You can't tell me which way to swing. These are my arms. You know what I mean? You can't tell me when to drink water. These are my lips. That's how I used to feel. That's how I used to go about it. I used to always think like, no, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I used to think that as a man, you do everything yourself from the ground up, from the minute you hit this earth to the minute you get buried back in the ground or cremated, no pun intended, because you know where I work. But I felt like you always had to do it all yourself. And then I realized later in life, you don't have to do it all yourself. It's not meant for you to do everything by yourself. What's really meant is for you to find a support system, for you to build a team to make sure that you're successful, for you to actually make sure you're taking care of yourself. And that's whether it's, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's so many things to it. And a lot of y'all think that it's just all about being prideful. That's all it is to be a man. You got to be prideful. If you think that all it is to be a man is to be prideful, grow up. And you got some learning to do. You're still a little boy. I don't say that out of place of malice. I say that as a place of genuine love. Like, no, like let's get through that. Let's work on that and make it better. Because there's no way we should be thinking like that still. Especially to all my brothers that are in their mid to late 20s and above. Come on, man. We know better than that. I think a lot of y'all know better, but y'all choose not to do better. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Y'all know better, but y'all choose not to do better because that choice forces you into uncomfortability. And let's be real. What do you know happens when you're uncomfortable? You're growing. You've never been there before. Of course it's going to be uncomfortable. Of course it's going to be different. Of course it's going to be new. And y'all think that you're just supposed to be good at it because you want to try it? No. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable for a while, whether you go to therapy, whether you're trying to communicate better with your kids or your spouse, whether you're trying to communicate better with people at work or the loved ones around you. Whatever the case may be, it's not going to be an overnight thing, and it's not going to happen right away. It's going to take a lot of practice. It's going to take a lot of dedication. It's going to take a lot of improving, a lot of effort to get it done. I have stopped. I can no longer blame anybody else for my shortcomings or downfalls, because I realize that when I keep blaming everybody else for my shortcomings or downfalls, what's happening? I'm avoiding accountability. And at that point, I can't do better and work on it or be better if I don't take accountability for it. So, hey, we not perfect. I'm not the perfect person that can take accountability yet. I plan to get as close as I can to it. But I'm not there yet, and I'm not perfect at it. But I do try every single day to be better at it. You know what I mean? When it comes to me expressing myself, like for the last few months, I've been trying to do better with expressing myself to my kids when they get in trouble. I didn't want to just yell all the time. Like, who wants to just yell all the time? I didn't like being yelled at as a kid. So what I've been doing is I've been learning to, like, when I see that I'm a little angry and I'm about to start yelling, I'll go back and walk in the room and just sit down for a second, gather my thoughts, and then I'll go back out there and I'll say what I got to say. Because, again, if I want to do better, I have to practice being better. I don't want my kids feeling like that I'm just this angry guy and dad's always mad and upset. Dad doesn't, want to do this or do that. Dad's always yelling. I don't want my kids to look at me like that. That's a horrible feeling, to think that my kids think that I don't like them. I'm sorry. Can't do that. So a lot of the time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change that. And I put in no effort to change it. I started on day one. I started to change it. I'm doing better at it. I'm getting better at it. I'll continue to be better at it and get better at it because I want to be better at it. For all of y'all saying, oh, it's too hard. It's too hard. Everything is going to be hard when you first start. It is. Why are we procrastinating? And here's another thing. This little bit that I want to say real quick is stop comparing yourself to every other man in this world. Comparison is the thief of joy. They say that for a reason. If you so much worried about how somebody else is living their life and you want yours to be like that, you don't know what that includes. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You see what you see on camera and social media, and you assume they have the perfect life. That is never the case. They are building the perfect life that they want to have for themselves, and you can do the same thing. And you can try and start, but you got to start somewhere. The biggest way to start is admitting or acknowledging that, hey, I need to work on this. Hey, I need to work on that. Hey, I need help. Hey, I need to go to therapy. Hey, I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody to vent to. Whatever it may be, but you want to try to get your mental health as stable as you can. Does that mean once you get it stable, it's going to stay there? No, that's not what it means. What it means is once you get it stable, you can create routines and patterns, things how you go about your day to make sure that you keep it at that level. And when it comes off track, it's easier for you to balance it to get it back on track than to worry about it's a million different things you got to take care of at the moment. Effort, man, just try. Just move forward. Take the first step. And I guarantee you will not regret it. If you take the first step, you'll be so much happier with everything going on for it. Because, I mean, it is what it is. But it ain't. It is what it is, but it ain't. But I can't force anybody to choose a path to be better for themselves. Nobody can force you to get up and do better and choose to be better and do better. You have to want it. If it's forced to you, it's like slave. It's like slavery. I got to force you to do it. I got to kidnap you to do it. I got to make you. Like, no, it's not really. Then at that point, nobody really learns from it, and you don't really get the genuine lesson out of it that you need to get. You don't really get the knowledge from it that you actually get from it, or the experience, I would say. But hey, all in all, I will always advocate for you all to go to therapy, get some help, find something productive and healthy to do when it comes to your dieting habits, your physical habits. Like, there's more than just, oh, I need to see a therapist, and getting your mental back on right, because sometimes your mental health is probably because you eating bad. You eating bad as hell, and you wondering why you ain't got energy for nothing. Now it's weighing down on you. Now you feeling like you ain't, you horrible. You this, you that. No, just change up the way you eat. Get back in the gym. Go get some sunlight. Go take care of it. Stop sitting in that dark room feeling like nothing is going to change. It ain't if you just sit there and do that. But I guarantee you, if you get yourself up, take one foot out the door, go towards that light at the end of the tunnel, man, I'm telling you, it'll work out better for you. It'll work out better for you. But until next time, I will tell y'all, man, keep your head up. Keep your head up and your spirit full. This is Juss Quanni. I'm signing off from Hot 702.5. Talk is cheap here on another wonderful Thursday. Be good to yourself, Kings. Be good to yourself. And I'll catch y'all next week on the hottest radio station, Hot 702.5. So peace, love, and hair grease. I'll catch y'all next week.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot702.5fm.com.